There is going to be a strategic review. Obviously, since the beginning of the year, there's been a lot of trouble between Iraq and the United States, starting with the assassination of the Iranian Quds leader on your territory, and then there was other action on your territory. And the whole relationship between the US and Iraq has become very fraught. What do you think is going to transpire? Will the Iraqi parliament, will the powers that be decide that the US presence needs to leave? Or where do you think this situation is going?
First and foremost, let me put things in proper context. This is really uniquely challenging times for a country like Iraq. We have a political crisis. We have had our government resign for the last 3 months, and we are trying to form a new government. We just appointed what people call the former head of intelligence, or the head of intelligence of the country. But this gentleman that has just been appointed was a former journalist, a human rights activist, and is quite well known in the human rights circles. So usually in the Middle East, when you talk about a head of intelligence, it comes down with certain connotations. Mustafa al-Kadhimi is of a different kind. I want to think of him as a journalist, as the thinker, as the human rights activist. One thing is also very important about this whole process. Iraq is a country in profound transition, and we have many problems that we deal with day in, day out. We have been trying to put this government together, but we have stuck to the constitution and we have stuck to the parliamentary process. I'm hopeful this time we're going to have a government very soon, because there is almost national consensus about it, as well as international and regional support for the appointment of Mr. Kadhimi. One of the big issues before him will be in June to start the strategic dialogue with the United States. The United States has been involved with Iraq in a very active manner, definitely since 2003. This relationship needs to be put in a proper context and in a proper way. We have the strategic framework agreement, that what we call. We need to elaborate on these, including the status of American and coalition forces that are present in Iraq. I am sure by June, hopefully with the new government, we will have a very good conversation, a good dialogue that will be respectful of Iraq's sovereignty. And let me come to this very important issue, Christian. If you go back 2003 to today, probably the most important factor why Iraq has not been entirely stable, has not been entirely at peace with itself and at peace with its neighbors, is the lack of a strong sovereign state in Iraq. A state that is able to affirm rule of law in the country and to conduct balanced relations with its neighbors, as well as with the international community, including the United States, based on respect of its sovereignty. I hope this theme will be what will be the guiding principle for our dialogue. At the end of the day, our strategic partnership with the United States, with Europe, with our neighbors are very important. This country has seen so much conflict over the last 40 years. You referred to 2003 and the looting. I can tell you Iraq has been in a state of conflict since 1979. Sanctions, genocide, you name it. This country needs a reprieve. And I would dare say also, with Iraq stabilizing, my hope is that this will be a catalyst for a much better order in the Middle East.
And you would know that better than most. Barhem Saleh, thank you so much indeed for joining us this evening. Thank you very much.